What's going on, Periscope?
Hey guys, we are live in Adam's event, but the show must go on. Making marriage matters must continue in spite of us being out and about. Hopefully everybody has already liked the M3 Making Marriage Matter. Hey. Making Marriage Matter page on Facebook. If you have not, please go and like the page. We are going to be coming out with a lot more posts, a lot more content. Good job. A lot more content. So if you have not liked the page, please like the page and share it. If you like what you hear weekly, share the page. So, here's Rev. Here we are.
What's going on, family?
Making Marriage Matter.
For those of you that are just joining, that are on the list, do me a favor. If you're on a Android phone,
Hey.
Yeah, we on location. We are at a good friend of ours' birthday party.
Yes.
But marriage matters, so we figure we show up and make sure we held up our end of the bargain.
Exactly.
Since you held up, you here, so we might as well be here.
We gotta be here.
So we on location.
I gotta go tell Auntie Tammy.
Okay. For those of you that are just joining us, do me a favor and share this broadcast so we can get the word out. We're trying to build not my brand. I don't want you to think that this is anything in particular, but we want to build a platform for marriages. If we truly believe that marriage matters and we truly believe that marriage is important, then we have to be there to show that marriage is important. And by marriage, I also mean treating the person that you love the way that you want to be treated. So we are on location, and today it is unfortunate that we're having to deal with a topic, and it's a topic that is not it's not a pleasant topic. It's not a topic that is talked about among married people, and it's not something that we usually deal with, but we want to deal with divorce.
The big D word.
The big D. Not this big D, not that big D, but divorce. So when we're dealing with divorce, some of you may have heard that
Israel.
Yeah, what is it?
It's praise and worship.
The praise and worship leader, Israel Houghton, unfortunately decided that enough was enough, and he's getting a divorce from...
No, they got a divorce.
They got a divorce, so they are no longer married. And while I pray for that situation, and I don't want to come down on him, it did light a light bulb in my mind to want to know, when is it okay to tell God, I take it back? When is I do, I don't? And when I say that, I say that to say, in your vows, you say until death do us part. You say in sickness and in health. You say in for richer or for poor. But when we're faced with real situations of life, how many of us really mean the vows that we took? How strong are they? And I know I'm saying some unpopular things. Most of you know by now that I come from a broken household. My mom and dad decided to get a divorce. Does that mean that it's okay? Absolutely not. I'm a proponent for marriage. So I don't know when is the right time to tell God, that promise that I made to you about loving this man or woman for the rest of my life, yeah, I kind of want to take that back because it's not working out the way that I thought it was going to work out. Oh, I thought my wife had 2 cents.
No, I was waiting till you finished.
So,
okay.
I'm done.
Oh, well, I mean, you said it. We both come from broken households. Are you getting Brock's comment? So, for us, when we went into marriage, we said divorce was not an option. No way, no how, it's not an option. Because we experienced our wedding and announcing the birth of that we were pregnant with our first child was probably one of the most stressful times of our life. because we were not only finagling having to plan a wedding, but we were having to finagle, plan a wedding, and keep two people away from each other and not cause no drama at the wedding, and make sure this person sit with this person and this person can't sit with that person because it might be drama and we don't want that on our wedding day. And then for the announcing of that we were pregnant with Kaylee, we literally had to go to 4 different houses to say, hey, you're going to have a grandbaby. And it was stressful.
And who do you tell? Who do you tell first?
Right.
Who can you do? I tell my mama first? If I tell my mom first, then my dad's gonna be mad. And if I tell her mom first and don't tell my mom until after I tell my dad, then it's gonna be all kind of drama in the house. So who really wants it? Who wants to put their kids through this? Oh, people that don't think it all the way through. Brock said most people have always felt that my first time walking down the aisle will be my last. It is.
It is.
And we made a pact before we got married. And a lot of these things happen before you get married. And that's why I encourage those that are serious about marriage, serious about their relationship, to get premarital counseling. Mm-hmm. A lot of these things come out before, so you don't have to deal with it after. But Brock had earlier said that basically that marriage is important, and that there's really no reason to get a divorce. People get a divorce because they're sick of dealing with their daily routine. And I cannot agree with that anymore. And as a Christian, as a man of God, it's important to understand, as not even as a man of God, here, let me help you, as a household that represents God, even with this big stomach, so I'm going to come pan back in. I blame us saints for getting other...
Ooh, for other Christians to
So when you're dealing, counseling is a must.
Yes.
But we have to understand, first of all, that when you get married, it's important to understand exactly... Here, let me...
Understand whatever he talking about is true.
What up, Doc? What up?
Special guest
greetings from our pastor. But it's important to understand that when you get married and you are married in a church, because everybody wants to be married in a church, because that's just where you get married. And when you're married by a pastor, because you got to get married by the pastor, because that's just what you do. Well, if you want to do church things, then you have to fall under the auspices of God. And if God told you that I am entrusting you with this person, don't mess it up, then when all else goes through, you read that. When all else goes through, you can't turn around and say, well, I'm going through hell, and I just can't take it anymore. Because at the end of the day, life is hell. I don't know. Life ain't been no crystal stair for me. So if I can make it through my daily grind, because bills are due every week, if I can make it up in age and still deal with doctor's appointments and still deal with friends letting me down, then how come I can put up with the negative things of life when they're forced upon me? But when we're dealing with marriage, we say, well, this is just too much. I'm out.
Kiana had a good point. She said that if in the church, if we would talk about the struggles that we're having in the church and be transparent, maybe we could help other people in their marriage so that they don't have to face the same struggle. And while I agree with you, I also think we have to be careful about what we share and how we share it and who we share it with. Because some people have on the spirit of take on somebody else's issues, and it causes a rift in their household. I know I've had friends to go through things in their marriage and vent and unload on me about their spouse. And I come home and I'm like, and I have to stop and think,
I ain't even do nothing.
He didn't do it. But I'm upset because she's going through whatever she's going through, and that's my friend, and how dare he put her through this, and whatever the case may be. And so there has to be a forum that we are transparent, and that's kind of why Making Marriage Matters is here, because we are very transparent. We're very open and honest about the issues that we have in our marriage and trying to help other people through the issues that they're having in their marriage.
Absolutely. And Kiana, I'll be 100%. I think as a church, we do an absolute horrible job on not only promoting the benefits of marriage, but talking about when marriage goes wrong. For too many people, marriage is a happily ever after. Mm-hmm. My marriage is great, and it's still not happily ever after. Right. So when you run into things that it's almost like eating a piece of cake, and it's tasting like kale. I didn't ask for kale. I didn't want kale.
I wanted cake.
I wanted cake. So if you told me you were giving me cake, and now I'm tasting kale, I got a problem. Well, marriage is like that a lot. Marriage is put together as happily ever after. And once you get married, everything works out great. And that is a lie from the pit of hell. And I don't know who came up with it, but I was just telling Jayla, marriage is the one time where you get your ring and you're not done. You win a championship in football, you get a ring because you won the championship. Exactly. And basketball, you get a ring because you won the championship. In marriage, you get a ring because you're about to go to war. We're the only ones that get dressed up to go to war.
And pay a whole lot of money in the meantime to go to war.
Absolutely. And sometimes it's necessary. See, I'm from the old school. You got to look good to play good. So if I'm going to dress up to go to war, you better believe I'm going to come out stunting. My ring is going to be on my hand. I'm going to have a haircut. I'm going to be shaved. And we going to war. Let's get it.
Hardest part about being a champion is defending the title. Exactly.
Absolutely.
You have to. It is a daily struggle and fight to defend your marriage. Plain and simple. And you're actively working on it every day. Every day, I have to actively work on being the best spouse that I can be and the best mom that I can be so that we can be the best Team Gracie that we can be. It is an active, daily strive, daily growth, daily movement. We cannot become stagnant because when we become stagnant, we don't grow. And when you don't grow, you die.
And it's like walking in water. I don't know if any of you have ever been to a tropical place, but when you're walking in the ocean, if you don't move against the current pulls you back from where you originally meant to be. Even if your feet aren't moving, you get pushed back into some things that you didn't mean to get pushed back into. So if you don't fight the current, then the current takes over you. And if you look at it as marriage, I mean, I don't want you to think that marriage is peaches and cream. I also don't want to paint the picture that marriage is all horrible.
Doom and gloom.
I am married to the person that God ordained. See, this is where we fall short. Because when you marry somebody that God didn't ordain you to marry, now you're stuck in a situation that He didn't intend for you to be in, but you chose to do it.
Yep.
And my mom is a stickler for this. When I was growing up, she would give me options of life. And options of life. And when I chose the wrong option, she would look at me square in the eye and tell me, you made the decision, you deal with it, you suck it up, and you see it through.
Exactly.
And what that did is it built character. And really, I think it might have been the pain of her divorce speaking through to me, even in smaller things. Because she was a proponent of marriage, and she ended up with a divorce. So there were times where, I mean, I can honestly remember as a child walking into a room and finding my mom in the closet crying. As a boy, it messed with my head because I'm the head of the household, and as the head of the household, you have to understand. Even as a boy, I was the man. I took care of everything that took place. So when you deal with situations like that, you have to understand that as a man, you want to fix it. As a little boy, I wanted to fix what my mom was going through, and I couldn't because it wasn't my job. But what it did for me is when I got married, I never wanted to put another woman through what my mom went through. So to deal with a divorce, no matter how much I don't like, read that.
Okay.
No matter how much I didn't agree with certain things, no matter how mad I get at Jayla, I will not put her through the pain that my mother went through. And I won't put my children through the pain that I had to go through. Okay, what they said.
Kiana said that she didn't have a model for marriage. Her mom wasn't ever married, and there was no desire for marriage there in the household. And I think when you go through those situations in life and you get married, I think it toughens your skin a little bit, and you strive even harder to make your marriage work.
And sometimes, honestly, Kiana, and I feel you that there was no model, so there may not have been a passion to get married. But because there wasn't a model, there also wasn't a model that you could look at and say, "Man, that's real messed up."
Yeah,
that's exactly why I'm not getting married. It comes into situations where you have to play the cards that were dealt to you. So if you're dealing with situations in life, you have to deal with them how they're dealt to you.
Exactly. And I think that's a lot of the struggle, especially in the African American community, because so many of us watched our moms struggle day in and day out to make ends meet. We don't know how to submit to a man because we're so busy being I am every woman, I'm superwoman, and I got my cape on and I got to take care of everything, that we end up taking their manhood away because we're trying to model something that was not intended for us.
And
ain't popular, but
yeah. And we just had this argument. A couple of friends of mine were on Facebook talking about. I believe the quote was, "Black women are raised to live without a man.
Right.
White women are raised to keep a man,
to take care of a man,
to take care of a man." And when you hear that, you automatically think, "Man, that's a mess." Because I know plenty of black women that can. Well, maybe I don't. Because the black women that I'm surrounded with are really strong, and they can all pretty much fend for themselves, and they're all educated, which isn't a bad thing, but can I honestly say that they're submissive? Probably not. So,
or they've never had to be submissive because they're not married.
That's not the role that they're in. So in that, if it's a cultural thing, you have to look at where did it start, and you go back all the way to slavery time, where slaves were pulled out of the bed or the bunk or whatever you want to call it, and the man was emasculated in front of the woman. To show them, that even though he is a male, he can't protect you. He can't cover you. So don't rely on him. And as the woman was taken, not only was the man taken out of the bed, raped and emasculated, the woman was done the same way. And the man was made to watch it happen, which made him think there's nothing that I can do to protect my woman, and I'm subservient to the situation that's happening. Fast forward 300 years, now we're in a situation where it's implanted in us that as a man, I can't take care of my wife. As a woman, my husband's not going to take care of me. And as a couple, now we're all mixed up and maxed up where we can't figure out how to get right and how not to go wrong.
And I think you end up getting one extreme or the other. You get a man that constantly wants to fix things. This one right here.
My bad.
And when he can't fix it, he gets frustrated.
Angry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, prime example is when, after I had Janiyah and I got sick, I was in the hospital for 5 days, and he could not do anything but sit next to the bed. And when I tell you this man showed out at St. Joe's Hospital because some monitor was going off and they wasn't coming quick enough, showed completely and utterly out to the point that I'm surprised that they didn't kick him out the hospital. But that was his, I have to fix it. And he couldn't fix that. And so we have either one end of the spectrum, or I'm just not going to do nothing. Deadbeat dads, deadbeat husbands.
Yeah.
It's hard to find that happy medium because it's been embedded in us for years and years and years. And as women, we want to fix everything. We want to make it work. We want to make it roll. We want to make sure everything goes smoothly. And unfortunately, what happens is we take so much away from him that we can't allow him to be the man of the house and the priest of the house and the head of the household.
And it's when you're dealing with marriage, if you want your marriage to last, if you want it to live up to the vows. See, what kills me is these new vows that people use, and I'm not gonna say honor. What is it?
Honor and obey.
Honor and obey. I'm not gonna say obey because I'm not gonna obey my husband. That's or I'm not gonna say submit.
I'm not gonna say submit.
We have an audience today. I'm kind of happy. I feel like I'm gonna.
Does the audience have any questions? Don't turn it on the audience.
I won't. But they won't.
Questions or comments?
They won't say submit. You can poll while I finish this question.
Okay.
While we're dealing with it, there's so many different ways to get married now, where you don't have to say certain things in your vow if you don't want to. Oh. This marriage isn't until death. This marriage is until I get sick of you, and then I'm done.
Right.
This marriage is and we were teasing downstairs. We always talk about when things go bad, people get married. I know some situations where things got good. He said, look, I'm upgrading. Goodbye. I'll buy you out. You can go live with your mama, but I'm moving and she's coming with me and you staying here.
The devil is alive.
It's buffoonery. And marriage is no longer till death. It's till I feel like it.
Till it's inconvenient.
Do not substitute. Kiana,
No.
If I marry somebody, I do not. You can make up your own cute little vows if you want, but when you're done, you're gonna say what's supposed to be said. What did you read the other one?
No, I didn't see the other one. I'm so sorry.
Great, no problem at all.
But I think because we're about to wrap it up soon. It's almost 8. To kind of give not the icing on the cake, but the great part about all of this is God's grace and God's mercy. And so even though we have circumstances of life that we choose to not honor our vows for whatever our reasoning is, God's grace and God's mercy still covers us. Does that mean that we need to take carte blanche on God's grace and God's mercy? Of course not.
The Bible says, God forbid. I'm going to tell you, should we take advantage of the situation? No. That's Bible. Don't do it. But the truth is we'll fall short.
Exactly.
And when we're dealing with, and that's why I don't want to come down on divorces or divorcees, because we've all fallen short.
Right.
And we've all been in situations where we just couldn't take anymore. Right. And when our backs are against the wall, we might have been to a point where we said, look, I don't have any other option but to walk away.
Right.
And my challenge to you, if I'm talking to somebody that's dealing with a situation in their life now, and they're considering leaving here, let me pull in so you know I'm talking to you. If you're considering leaving your spouse because of some things that happened in the past, because of some things that you cannot get over,
some things that's happening right
because
now,
of some things that are happening right now, because of some things you see happening in the future. I don't care what the reason is. If that is you that I'm talking to, let me help you. We didn't make it this far on our own. We came this far by faith. So if you believe that God is able to save you from your sins, if you believe that God cared enough about you to go and die on the cross on your behalf, and that he fixed it all, please, by all means, trust in God enough to realize that not only will he do it for your physical, but he'll do it for your relationship.
Exactly.
So if you can trust God enough you were, when you married your spouse, God put it together. Even if you chose one he didn't want you to choose.
And you stepped out.
He said, look, I'll ordain this union. And what I have put together, no man, no woman, no creature, no being, no angel, no demon can tear apart. It's just as strong as the salvation. If salvation can save you from the pits of hell, God can save you from the pits of divorce.
Exactly.
But you have to trust in him. Yeah, he might still be lying, but trust in God. Yeah, she might still be creeping, but trust in him. Yeah, the bills might not be paid, but trust in him, because that is the only hope as Christians that we have. I'm not talking, if you don't believe in God, I'm not talking to you. That's a whole nother conversation. But if you believe in God and you got married in the church and you got married by your pastor, then how dare you say that God can't do it?
And go seek counseling. It's okay. It's okay to go seek counseling and talk to somebody that is trained to help you through these issues of life. And I'm not talking go to your pastor. Yeah, that's great. But sometimes you need to go seek some professional help to help you through these issues. Go seek help. It's so many avenues and options available that it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. If you need something, contact us. We have resources that we can share with you where you can get the help that you need.
Because if you need the help, it's out there. But by all means, trust in God. Vulnerability for accountability leads to benefit. Ooh, Brock, you preaching that. It works. Thank you. I was going to ask for an amen, but I already got one. I can go ahead and pass the plate, and we can be on the way up out of here.
All right.
We're gonna shut it down.
Okay. So we can go back and join the party.
Yeah, we can go back and have fun. Yeah. We appreciate our guest for the evening.
Thank you.
But we're going to.
We're gonna log off.
We're gonna log off.
Don't forget, like the page.
Like the page, share the page.
Yeah.
We're trying to get to 250 viewers so we can release another great announcement. Once we get there, you'll hear from us. But offering time, doors of the church are open. Deacons, please come forward. Is there one? So we love you. We'll talk to you.
Love you too, Rock.
And we're praying that your marriage, that your relationship,
that you're making it matter. And if you're single, I'm praying that God continues to bless and keep you, because it's hard out here for single people, because y'all can't have sex. That's what the Bible says. So we praying your strength.
Praying your strength. Now, and if y'all out there, should be. If y'all out there doing it, I pray God covers you, and I pray that you run away, that you stop.
Turn from your wicked ways.
Just stop right now. That's another topic. Somebody said the reason people aren't getting married
is because you out here cake batter.
It's because you out here partaking in married folk stuff.
Yep.
Whew. All right, we out of here.
Love y'all.
We'll talk to y'all later.
Broadcast won't stop. Too much cake batter.
Am I still broadcasting?